Hey, hey, Blue Table fans, Sean here. Have you ever had an idea that seemed like a good idea at the time, but then later you were like, oh no, what did I do? So I got it into my head that I was going to put out all the role-playing game figures for fantasy that I've collected over the various years and put them all out at the same time and give it some documentation. And where else would I do it but at my friendly local game shop? So I'm here at Oasis Games, which is a spectacular Salt Lake City gamers watering hole. Is that the right word? Anyway, it's the friendly local game shop. And by the way, they do an awesome job here. And this place is packed. So anyway, I roped my son and his girlfriend into helping me, and we set up about 2,000 figures, which you're going to see right now. All right, guys, here it is. In all their glory. And by the way, I thought I was going to do this by myself. I seriously would have been here like 4 hours just setting it up. So thanks a lot, guys. And you're still going, right? Yeah. Fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to show you everything, not just the panoramic. So let's just dive in. But before we do that, you should know there's some pre-paints in here. And what else? I would say most of these I've painted myself in just sort of my off hours. And it's really just miscellaneous stuff that I've picked up. Clients want to trade in collections of figures to help with their projects. And I just sort of I put them in a couple of bins that of just stuff to paint. And then a lot of them, it's training work for new painters, because I don't let them touch your stuff until I know that they're up to snuff. And yeah, so again, there are some pre-paints in here, but 93% of them are just cool stuff that I've collected over the years. So let's just, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to start over here at this end. We're going to eat dessert first, guys. So first off, I got a bunch of WizKids, Nolzers, Deep Cuts. I don't know. It all feels the same to me. I'm just going to call them Deep Cuts figures. So anyway, these dragons, they've been based quite nicely. In fact, I've shown you a lot of this stuff. This is a statue that I found online and is my homage to the cover of the first edition Player's Handbook. And I did his eyes kind of glowy there, because in the PHB he's got like rubies for eyes. A couple of beholders. This is a one-of-a-kind sculpt by Brig, who used to work here. This is a Deep Cuts figure. And here we have some Games Workshop Dragon Ogres. This is a Games Workshop Forge World Plague Troll, and I actually have a whole tribe of those in process right now. Here's some heroes. This is an archer from Dark Sword Miniatures. I don't know where this one comes from. This is from Dungeon Saga by Mantic, I believe. A Games Workshop figure. This is a Games Workshop Chaos Lord, who is a great villain, by the way. This is a dog. I do believe it's a Reaper Bones dog. This is a converted figure that has like this sci-fi shield. That was my son's character. This guy here is from Rune Wars. You've got these tentacle things. That's from Privateer Press Hordes. And this is the Orc Warband by Games Workshop. So a lot of really cool figures in there, each one unique. These are from Wrath of Kings by Cool Mini or Not. These figures are great. I use them as moon beasts. This is a Dwarf Lord on shield. That was just a trade-in. It already was painted. This green dragon is a little bit of a conversion of mine. It's from a Games Workshop Dark Elves dragon. And he's served me well over the years in various games. And I had a great time painting him. This is a Medusa by Games Workshop. More models by Games Workshop. These are Plague Drones. And here we have a family of cloud giants from a game called Mythic Battles. This is from a game called Dark Age, which is by Cool Mini. I converted this guy's axe. He was painted by my old art director, Josephus, who some of you may remember. Josephus, I think I called him. His real name was Joseph. And yeah, just a really cool base on this guy, and I just love that figure. Another storm giant back here. This is a chimera, a study from a new painter of mine. And so she was awesome. Here's some river trolls I painted up. It was just an oddball pair that I had laying around. They're fielded in the game as 3s, so 2 trolls is basically not useful. A couple of Dungeon Saga ogre type guys. This is from Massive Darkness. This guy's called Lord Tusk. He makes a great ogre villain. Now these models are from Atlantis Miniatures, and I just love them. Oh my god, just so evocative, well sculpted. Let me just give you a human-sized figure in comparison to them. So they're obviously like larger. And these, I don't know where these are from. I picked them up at a local shop. It was $2 for all of them. And I just assembled and painted them real quick, nothing to write home about. A bunch of Skaven, I use them as rat folk, including the, like the little warband of Skaven. So those need a lot of TLC to be done. These are models from Cool Mini or Not. You have these shell crackers, which I love. And by the way, I know there's a lot of background noise in here, and I'm hoping you can hear me over it. So here's these shark guys, these were sharks by Cool Mini or Not. This little crab creature's awesome. These are cultists from Rune Wars, which I just had laying around. I whipped those out one day. I bought this statue off of eBay. Loads of fun. Confrontation figures. These are their successor company figures, gargoyles, and so those are resin. These are spiders from Deep Cuts. Hugely enjoyed painting those. They're all rebased on 25mm rounds. And as you may notice, and by the way, we've barely covered anything. God, this video is going to be so long. All right, so let's take a break and just do some overview here. Larger collections. This is Cthulhu Wars. This is a bunch of hordes like reptile people. And what else? Tons of Undead by Games Workshop. I've got a bunch of villagers here. Those are from Deep Cuts. And this is Constructs and Elementals. I have a collection of living spells. What else? Oh yeah, and this is elves and tribes of various things. So Games Workshop elves, got a ton of those. And they make for great allies to players. And alright, well let's just keep going or we're never going to get through. Alright. These are golems, rune golems from Rune Wars, and this is a demon from Deep Cuts, a whole bunch of dragonkin that I converted up from various sources, again mostly Deep Cuts figures, an Overlord from Massive Darkness. Here's an adventuring party, just various figures, various sources, an old Rackham Barbarian, and this is a Signwall Elf. Also, those are like super hard to find. This is a figure from Descent that I just painted up as an amethyst dragon for kicks. His brother's floating around here somewhere. Yeah, I painted this guy up as an ice drake. And that was a lot of fun. And these are giant centipedes from The Other Side by Malifaux, and this little guy bursting out of an egg. He's like that's a really cool figure. And by the way, I have enjoyed I actually have painted most of these. Oh man. Here is a crab, a giant crab, which was my homage to White Plume Mountain, which is a module that has a giant crab in it. And this random guy, this model is terrible. That's from Rune Wars, a gold dragon. This is from back when D&D was D&D, they were doing like this game. So a clockwork dragon, that's by Reaper. Fantastic figure. Deep Cuts giant spider. And I made this one like that creepy sort of pale color that they are sometimes. And again, just to get a scale comparison there, that's kind of what he's pretty huge. Random Minotaur, a cockatrice from Massive Darkness, which is a great source for minis. Let's keep going around. Oh my gosh, where are we? All right, we're to this section now. This is a giant scorpion, just rebased it off of eBay, and one of my artists painted that up. These are moon spiders, which I converted up out of Tyrannid bits. This is a confrontation orc shaman that I just rebased and sort of touched it up. It was a trade-in that was already painted. These are things I've recently painted from, I think these are Massive Darkness figures too. I've got a pretty good collection of those. This Etten, a werebear, he looks kind of purplish, and that's because I put purple undertones on things. But they show up more on camera than in real life. Again, a couple more Massive Darkness figures. These are pretty rough. These are just practice figures by an artist that I'm training up currently. Again, lots and lots of these villagers that I bought from a deep cuts kit, and a lot of experiments in flesh tones on these guys. You can see we've incorporated different sorts of paints and inks and stuff on there, and that's been a lot of fun. This was actually painted by my 14-year-old son. This is his character in our D&D game. And again, a Massive Darkness Lizardman. My daughter plays that thing. This is a deep cuts figure I just sort of whipped out. This actually belongs to a client, and it's getting shipped out like tomorrow. It just got scooped up in the general mayhem of us getting down to the local shop. More Massive Darkness figures, this Cyclops, whatever this guy is, like this ogre, this weird mutated creature called the Nameless Thing. Loving that. These are figures from Descent. It comes from one of their expansion kits. And we had a really good time whipping those up. I painted this fox and badger, which was a great study. It was a great experiment in using like color mixing and stuff. These are Crowey's Cutthroats by Privateer Press, and I've gotten a ton. They're not painted very well. They're actually kind of chipped from usage, and I've got a ton of usage out of those. Now the Undead. Oh my god, so much Undead. All right, let's just dive in. These are pre-paints by Rackham. Nothing to write home about. And what else? Same thing with these flying guys. We have a Purple Son of Sirius here from the Endless Spells kit. These are from Descent. This was from a kit, and this was just an artist's study in different tones and how to do cloth and stuff like that. So he did each one differently, and that turned out pretty good. All right, let's see here. Yeah, loads of Games Workshop Undead here. Some Lord of the Rings figures, which I use as city guard. We've got more of those up top here as archers. This was from a trade-in, and those guys, I just glued them together and fixed them and stuff like that. There's Crowey's Cutthroats up there again. Oh my gosh, where to go? These are from Rune Wars, these Hellhound type figures, and those were a load of fun to paint. Again, purpley undertones there. This bear is from Guild Ball, and it's just fantastic. This is based on art. This is an owl bear based on art by D. Terlizzi, and 2 owl bear cubs. So great collection. This is a deep cuts owl bear, a much larger creature. I don't even know where that's from. These hound things, this giant boar, a giant snake. These are pre-paints from Confrontation. These are from Mythic Battles. Those are a lot of fun. And yeah, there you go. So now we're into constructs and elementals. This is a fire elemental and a water elemental from Rackham Confrontation. All right, and then these guys are from Malifaux. They're metal figures, and there's a set. So it's this guy, this creator guy, and then all these sort of weird metallic golems and constructs. There's this little flying guy here. And by the way, this is a great collection. Pretty sure these are painted by our old art director, Cameron. They're on cool bases. This is from Privateer Press, Circle of Ouroboros. It's like an animated woodland thing. Again, more War Machine figures in here, which I use as like dwarven drills and golems and stuff like that. Here is a Massive Darkness Iron Golem. Great figure. These are Foo Lions by Wrath of Kings, models that I absolutely adore. And this tree guy here, he's a lot of fun. That's again from Rune Wars. And a set of endless spells, really nothing to write home about there. They're painted well enough, and they make for cool props. Oh man, I skipped a bunch of stuff here. This is a figure from Ultra Forge, and not Ultra Forge, Creature Caster. So it's like this plague demon, which is just a tremendous figure. There's another one down here, and I really enjoyed painting this guy up. He was a lot of fun. And yeah, but getting this, he has like this wand or something, and that was like a real beast to get in there. I got some Nurgle stuff. I added that horn actually. And the cork works decent here, but you can see the flatness of the cork, and you guys know I'm not a fan. All right, let's get back here in these villagers. We have a white stag, a unicorn, a bear, a scarecrow, and then just all sorts of these villagers, mostly from Guild Ball back here. And a lot of fun stuff. A couple of boars, a couple of oxen, a donkey that has red demonic eyes, by the way, another donkey from Guild Ball. Now these two figures are from Confrontation, and I just gave them lots of gear from like 40k Imperial Guard and stuff. And that was a lot of fun. Some dungeon dressing, like a little camp back here. That's just great stuff that just makes it so realistic. These are what I call pig dogs by Malifaux. And all right, and this is just more miscellaneous stuff, just various figures from various ranges. Not really much to say about it. Okay. Whew. Man, I'm breaking a sweat doing this. All right, let's take a break and just do a panoramic. Just ridiculous. So these are usually just in bins in my studio, and I would just love to run a game up at Sundance for a group of people that wanted to do it. That would be a load of fun, and I could do a pre-existing module, probably drawing from this vast resources, or make something up custom. All right, let's do the reptiles. So this is, again, you'll notice a lot of figures from Massive Darkness in here. This was part of a collection called Reptisaurians, and I don't see the rest of them on here. Okay, so you got all these lizardmen, a bunch of bog trogs from Privateer Press, boggards, and here's a band of adventurers back here. This is a dark elf sorceress, and I just gave her a wood elf Sister of the Thorn staff, and that just worked out so good. I play this guy as a Lamassu. It's actually a griffin from Privateer Press. And guy, what else? These lizardmen make great trolls, or actually lizardmen. Excuse me, they're called gatormen. And you can see the scale difference. Like the first edition gatormen look like that, and the second edition look like this. And you've got like a wizard. I gave him like a different totem from the lizardmen range, and I think that works really well. Here you've got Jaga something, which is sort of a cool witch doctor guy, and that was actually painted up by a master painter, local, and he did a really good job on that. Here's a couple of serpent folk wizards that I did for my Emerald Path adventure path, and those just have all sorts of bits from Games Workshop on them. And so the heads are actually plastic serpent swarms from Games Workshop. And I got hands from, I do believe, Eldar Harlequins and staff tops from the Empire range by Games Workshop. All right, let's go back over here because there's a lot of interesting stuff. This is a model from Raging Heroes that makes a great villain. This is a guy from Cool Mini or Not's, what is it, Dark Age line. A couple of pre-paints from, I don't know where they're from. They're from, I think, Pathfinder models. Like, there's a company that makes models for them. Anyway, and I just gussied them up a little bit. Some of this stuff just got traded in and was painted already, like this guy. Somebody had done some work on him, and I just abducted him into my horde. This was actually painted by our old art director, Josephus, and I've just not wanted to ever get rid of it. All right, back over here, we've got some Myconids. This is from a recent range. My son actually painted those, and quite well, I might add. This is from a Stormcast thing, and he's just a little orphan. We have some Privateer Press figures, a Massive Darkness werewolf, tons of Cthulhu Wars figures, just too many to count. I actually think I painted every last one of these, most of them as a study in color mixing and trying different sorts of hues and tones together. And so yeah, we've got Cthulhu back here, and these guys just really, they stand in for a lot of different things. They can definitely represent a ton of different things. Now over here, this is mostly Games Workshop figures, and it's mostly elves. So let's just dive in and take a look. I think this is the last leg of our adventure. All right, last leg, guys. So hopefully going to show you a lot of cool things. All right, these are dwarfs, like evil dwarfs from the Cybor range. Of course, we have some Dark Elf Executioners, which I was using as Hell Knights, if you're familiar with Pathfinder. These are Wrath of Kings guys. I don't know what they're called. This is a couple of collections from Massive Darkness. These are dwarves. I'm playing them as gnomes in my game. What I'm using is hobgoblins in my game. Those are from Massive Darkness. Got a couple of Mythic Battles figures sort of creeping in there. We've got, these are Swamp Gobber and crew. A ton of Dark Elf Corsairs, about 30 of them, that I've given them bases kind of like planks, and so they were like pirates. Oh, there's the Reptisaurians from Massive Darkness. Great collection, those. A mounted guy, a high elf guy mounted on a velociraptor. So, all right, those of you from the Warhammer world are probably cringing right now. All right, got a ton of wood elves over here. So a bunch of the old Glade Guard, and then these Wildwood Rangers, which are a more recent sculpt. This is a custom figure I made for my daughter. And yeah, this leader type guy, a bunch of Mythic Battles Spartans, some Games Workshop Shadow Warriors, a couple of Stormcast sneaking in here. Again, these are just like extras that I paint in my spare time. These are Cybor dwarves, which are super characterful. I just love them. I've gotten so much out of them. And here we go. This is a Tendriculos, and that's actually a pretty big figure. Let me get a human-sized figure next to him. So this is like a magical beast from the Pathfinder world. It's actually based on a Call of Cthulhu model by Deep Cuts, and I just sort of repurposed it as this creature, as this sort of swamp creature. All right, well, I've been talking constantly for about a half hour, and guys, I think I got it all. I think you saw everything. And of course, oh yeah, here's a bunch of pre-paints. And I gotta tell you, these are pretty good. Some of the paint work is pretty clunky, but for the cost, it's really a great value to get these pre-paints. And I certainly just collect them when I can. Sometimes I'll gussy them up a little bit, give them better bases, as you can see here. And yeah, they do a good job. All right, let me just see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, I did miss a couple things here. Oh, in fact, I missed a lot of things. Okay, this is a giant. I've had this for quite a while. This is from a now defunct company called Ultra Forge, and was painted up by one of my artists, I think in 2008. This was a while ago. This is a creature caster demon, and I love these. I use it as a Glabrizu in my D&D games, and this as a Vrock. Granted, a very large Vrock. And a Manticore, that's by Raging Heroes. I took the rider off of him and gave him a really cool base. You know, I'm just patting myself on the back for how great that base turned out. A Wyvern from Confrontation, some converted sea insect creatures, and here another band of adventurers, just like tons of various figures. These are from the other side. They turned out really good. Super pleased with those. Using those as lizardmen. This is actually a 40K piece. I'm just going to set that aside right now. This is an eel creature. That's from the other side. That turned out really good. I was just, again, experimenting with different colors and paints and stuff like that. And these are salamandras from Mearse Miniatures. And I got to tell you, I would love to have a lot of Mearse miniatures in this collection, and I don't. That is one of my goals, is to do more Mearse miniatures. All right, now, did I miss anything? Here's these two guys painting over here. Yeah, they're getting good. They're getting real good. All right. Well, give it one more panoramic here. Yeah, no end of pleased.